What if the art you spent years creating was used to train a machine? And that machine could now do your job in seconds. That's the reality we're living in right now. Can something created by a machine ever be called original? Artists are furious. AI companies are being sued, and yet nothing seems to stop the wave. So, is AI generated content really stealing, or is it just the next step in evolution? Let's talk about AI, copyright, and the chaos it's causing. Over the last 2 years, since AI really took off, there's been a lot of anger in the artist community and a lot of banning happening, but in the end, not much has changed. Even I put my eyes on this bad boy many times in this period. We've seen some crazy things happen, things that sometimes looked like magic. If you still don't really know how AI works, let me explain it in a very simple way. Let's say you train one person to observe water bottle designs and make sketches of them. You give that person hundreds of thousands of images of water bottles, and from those, the person learns just two things: what water bottle designs look like and how to draw them. Now imagine you give that same person one task for an entire year. Look at all those images and make sketches based on them. Just think what will happen after a year. The person's experience and understanding of water bottle design and sketching will be on another level. Can any random designer compete with that? No, right? That's basically what happens with AI. They feed the computer millions of images, not just water bottles and sketches, but every kind of image they can find. They burn millions of dollars on massive GPU rigs to train those models. The same thing happens with text models like ChatGPT. They collect huge amounts of writing, tutorials, and explanations and feed them to computer systems. Once the system reaches a certain threshold, they release it as a new version. As you can see, ChatGPT 5 came out recently. With every version, they try to make it better than the last one, learning from feedback and adding more and more data. In a few years, they expect to reach something called AGI, which stands for Artificial General Intelligence. That means that someday, when you ask AI like ChatGPT a question, it won't just pull from data it was trained on. Like, it'll be able to understand and answer on its own. In technical terms, AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, is a hypothetical type of AI that can understand, learn, and apply intelligence to any intellectual task that a human can. But in all this race, one thing is often forgotten: the data. AI companies have used data from all kinds of sources, scraping websites, changing terms of service without proper notice, and using legal loopholes as shields, just to collect as much training data as possible. They're still scraping data from across the internet. Because of that, image-selling companies and artists say their data and work have been used without permission. They've provided evidence showing that AI models like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion can generate images that look almost identical to ones on their websites. That's when the idea of AI theft started to bother everyone. So the question comes up: if you're using our images or writing to make millions of dollars without compensating the artists or writers, how can you sell those services? That's what I've understood so far from the internet. If I made any mistakes in explaining this, please mention it in the comments. Now, another question comes up. If AI generation uses tiny parts of many different images to make something new, is it really stealing? Let's take interior design as an example. AI can make different interior design images in seconds by combining elements from thousands of references. Is that truly stealing? As artists and designers, we do something similar. A 3D artist or interior designer looks at tons of reference images, takes ideas from different ones, and creates something new based on their needs and the available space. AI is basically doing the same thing. So is it really stealing? I'm not talking about stealing images to feed the AI. That's absolutely stealing. What I'm talking about is period after that, when you use clean, properly licensed data to create images with AI. If human hand are not involved and the design is made by the algorithm, will it not called the authentic one only because it doesn't have a heart? Especially we as artists work the same way. Tell me your opinion in the comments. What do you think about all this? Since we're talking about copyright and licenses, let me mention that there are a lot of legal cases going on right now. Big players like Midjourney and Stable Diffusion are being sued for copyright issues. I found a very interesting and straightforward answer from Alan on Quora regarding this question. Are Midjourney photos copyrighted, or can I use them freely? You can take this answer for any kind of AI you are seeing mostly on the internet, I think. Alan says, there are two answers to this question. The first is read the Midjourney terms of service. Those spell out what Midjourney's contract is with you, and there's a long section on copyright. A short version is that if you're on a paid plan, then you can use those images in certain ways, but you assign Midjourney a lot of rights to them. If you're not, then Midjourney owns the images and gives you some rights to use them. A key phrase here is to the extent possible under current law. Midjourney's business model has never been tested in court, and there are a lot of very angry image owners who claim the business model only works because the software engages in massive copyright infringement. If they are correct, and Midjourney is LimeWire 2023, then any fruits of that program are also likely illegal copies, and you can't use them in the ways you describe, or really most other ways. The angry image owners include Getty Images, which is currently suing another AI image generator, Stable Diffusion, for copyright infringement. Getty Images sues AI art generator Stable Diffusion in the US for copyright infringement. They have filed a lawsuit against Stability AI, accusing the company of using 12 million Getty images to train its model without permission. It's the latest salvo in the ongoing legal war between rights holders and AI startups. There are also numerous individual artists who claim that they have identified their own proprietary images in material produced by Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, DALLE, etc. Most of them haven't yet filed suit because that costs a lot of money, and their case would be effectively identical to Getty Images. If Getty wins, these artists will pick up a check. If Getty settles or loses, then individuals may have to file their own lawsuits. The core of this claim is that AI image generators were trained on images taken from displays such as web pages, scraping, that did not authorize copying or use of those images. The models underlying these programs use those copied images and produce results very similar to them. It's certainly possible to argue both that the scraping amounts to illegal wholesale copying and the generated images are illegal derivative works. Courts will need to decide. These cases take years to wind through the courts. LimeWire, first released in 2000, was sued in 2006, and the case wasn't decided until 2010. It's possible Getty versus Stability will do a speed run of that, but I wouldn't bet on it. My personal opinion is that the artists are right. I closed my Midjourney account and am going to make my own images, or hire a human artist to make them for me. That was his personal opinion, to close his Midjourney account. But as a 3D artist, I think the competition today is absolutely crazy because so many people are using these tools. In my opinion, we're forced to use tools like Midjourney, ChatGPT, DALL-E, and Stable Diffusion because we can't afford to lose out. We can't compete without them. If these companies ever shut down, we'll stop using them together. But honestly, I don't think it's fair to artists that first their work gets stolen and then they're forced to use the same tools that were trained on stolen data, only to later be told we are stealing. Oh, come on. We were happy doing our work in 3ds Max and Blender. Then AI came to our door, took a big bite out of the multi-million-dollar creative industry, and now we're being told to adapt or get left behind. So I've decided I'll learn whatever new tools come out and use them for competitive advantage, not to copy others, but to stay ahead. Because the truth is, the data has already been used, and these companies aren't stopping anytime soon. This AI technology, image and text generation, is a massive breakthrough, like the invention of the calculator, the car, or the electric vehicle. If these big corporations hadn't trained their models with questionable data, the progress would have been slower, but also cleaner, and people would have appreciated it more. Even if courts shut down Midjourney or similar tools in the future, we'll definitely see new compliant AI tools emerge, ones that follow laws and respect creators properly. If the courts rule in favor of artists, those compliant versions will thrive, and AI will continue evolving just in a cleaner way. So I think in the future, we'll have better, more legally regulated AI tools, and that will be good for everyone. Like these billion-dollar corporations aren't going anywhere, and AI will only keep growing. That's why it's smart to start learning now, because as technology gets more complex, it'll be harder to catch up later. Look at Blender. When it first came out, it was simple, but now it has so many tools that no one can learn them all. So start learning early. By the way, since we're talking about AI and all that chaos, let me quickly plug this here before you roast me in the comments. I just launched a Midjourney for 3D artists course that walks you through my full workflow, so you can create textures, generate ideas, and speed up your multiple ideation process with Midjourney. Pretty amazing stuff. If this sounds useful, then make sure to check it out from the link in the description. Now let's finally talk about the copyright on the image itself that we made with AI. So for this, we can take a note from this answer of this question. Is there any copyright on the AI images from Midjourney or others, and can I use them commercially? So this Franklin Vo person gave this answer that I personally agree with. This is a rapidly evolving area of law, but here's where things stand right now, at least in the US. The Copyright Office won't issue a copyright for AI-generated artwork. In fact, a graphic novel produced with Midjourney created images just had its copyright revoked. AI systems work by examining millions of images, then producing new images based on those. In many cases, they have produced images containing watermarks and signatures from the images they were trained on. That's really not good. Getty Images is currently suing the owners of a Stable Diffusion-based generative AI for producing images obviously derived from copyrighted Getty Images photos. That even included the Getty Images watermark. Can you use AI-generated images commercially? Sure. And if they include recognizable elements from existing copyrighted images, are you potentially on the hook for copyright violation? Yup. Even if you're not, your AI images can't be copyrighted, so anyone else who wants to can use them however they like. Also look at this answer by Odom M. The US Copyright Office has ruled that AI-generated artworks do not qualify for copyright protection as they lack human authorship. It later clarified that AI art may be protected if substantial human work is involved, such as photoshopping a Midjourney output. The initial output generated by Midjourney, however, is not protected. We are treading in new territory when it comes to AI generative art. It is interesting how it will play out legally in the various jurisdictions. My personal opinion is that all AI art should be in the public domain to be enjoyed and used, even commercially, by everyone. Simply prompting AI to generate great art does not make one an artist. So I reached to this same final answer for now for commercially using images made with AI. Also, I'm not planning to use AI to make art. I'm using it for interior, exterior, and product design and visualization, rough ideas, and generating the textures for my 3D work. There's still a lot of creativity and design involved in that. Sometimes it does feel a bit unethical, but what else can we do? My plan is to use AI tools to generate textures, basic ideas, and concept drafts to make my design, creativity, and visualization workflow better than ever. If you've tested these tools, you know that even the best AI images still have imperfections. You still need a lot of knowledge in your field to spot what's wrong and fix it. So it's better to use AI for idea generation and early drafts, not for final designs. AI is here to stay. No amount of bans or outrage is going to stop it now. So it's better to use it to our advantage. When the dust settles in the world and in the courts, in a couple of years, we'll have better, more regulated AI tools. Hopefully that'll bring peace of mind too. But until then, we don't really have a choice. What do you guys think? Tell me your opinions in the comments or on my Discord, and the link is down below. At last, make sure to check out this Midjourney for 3D artists course. It's pretty amazing tool, by the way, for 3D artists like us, for generating ideas, textures, and designs in minutes. That's it from my side. I'm Bilal, and I'll see you in the next one.